Two defendants accused of child sex crimes were in the Wichita County Courthouse today as trials got underway in both the 78th and 89th District Courts.
Josh Hoggart is keeping up with both of those trials, and he joins us now with the latest from the courtrooms. Josh?
Yeah, guys, jury selection continued this morning in the 78th District Court ahead of the trial of James Esmond, accused of multiple sex crimes against a 9-year-old boy. And over in the 89th, a jury of 10 women and 2 men was sworn in yesterday in the trial of Willie Hernandez, charged with 2 counts of aggravated sexual assault of a child and 1 count of indecency against his ex-girlfriend's granddaughter, who was around 6 or 7 when the assaults began. The proceedings began at around 9:10 on Tuesday morning in the 89th District Court, Hernandez pleading not guilty on all 3 counts alleged against him. Wichita County DA John Gillespie's opening arguments painted a picture of the broken home that the victim came from, how she came to live with her grandma while her mom was behind bars and her dad was on drugs, with Gillespie adding how difficult it would be for the victim to talk about being raped and molested by someone she trusted. The first witness from the Wichita Falls Police Department were involved with the initial report taken from the victim, and the victim was the next to take the stand. Now a sophomore in high school, the victim said the memories of abuse of Hernandez still haunts her. Her testimony included detailed accounts of what she said Hernandez did to her, the fear of getting in trouble if she told anyone about it, how she felt ashamed of what happened, and that between the ages of 6 until Hernandez moved out of the house, that she would lie awake at night wondering if she was going to be abused again. When the victim's mother and grandmother took the stand, Hernandez's defense seemed to deflect the blame on the victim's father, arguing that CPS had investigated him for sexual abuse and apparently suggesting that she was confused about who assaulted her. But the victim's mother testified that she'd been consistent in her statements that Hernandez was her abuser. And just after testimony concluded in that trial, a jury of 7 men and 5 women was seated in the 78th District Court, where proceedings got underway at around 2:30 in the trial of James Esmond, after he pled not guilty to aggravated sexual assault of a child and not guilty to indecency. Special Victims Chief Brooke Groner-Robb presented the argument on behalf of prosecution, calling what Esmond did to the 9-year-old boy just about a year ago a betrayal of trust, and informing the jury that they'd hear testimony from someone else who alleged that he was assaulted by Esmond during his childhood. And that's the first witness the state called to the stand, who testified he'd stayed with James's family for a bit when he was growing up. And he testified that he didn't really know Esmond well and spent very little time with him other than what he said Esmond referred to as special time, before a heated moment from the stand in which he pointed directly at Esmond and claimed, quote, "This man molested me." He said it happened pretty much every day, adding that Esmond would threaten to hurt him and his siblings if he told anyone. And then the victim was called to testify, who was now just 10 years old. He expressed that he didn't want to talk about what Esmond did to him, and when the prosecution asked him to tell the jury what happened, he buried his face in his hands and began to cry. He then gave detailed accounts of multiple alleged instances of abuse committed against him by Esmond. Now, testimony in Esmond's trial is set to resume first thing tomorrow morning in the 78th District Court. And as for the Hernandez trial, no proceedings are scheduled for tomorrow. And then Thursday, a child abuse expert is set to be the last witness for the state before the defense has a chance to bring its case. Prosecutors say they believe the jury will be able to begin deliberating as early as Thursday afternoon. And of course, we'll have more details from each day's proceedings over on our website, Texomashomepage.com.